Everyone, welcome back to episode 3. 3. So we're at the January transfer window. I'm on my lunch break home, enjoying my Christmas tree. Yes, my Christmas tree is up. 3 reasons. 1, I love Christmas. 2, I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. And 3, because I want to. So Christmas tree is up, ready for everything. So let's get into it. So we hit January, and just before the last game that I showed, we had a bid coming from Bayern Munich for Joe Gomez. He's okay. My experience with Joe Gomez is he never really improves that much, so I wasn't too concerned with keeping him. I think Bayern came with around 25 million and negotiated him up to 30, and he was off. And I kind of figured for 30 million pounds, I could probably bring in someone that's going to be as good, if not better, on that kind of level. I did my scope around. There's no Liverpool-born players who could be that good. I wish James Carragher had his dad's potential abilities. I could kind of snap him up and have another Carragher at the club. It would just be awesome. But what I did do is I negotiated a deal for Ukrainian centre back Ilya Zabanyi for £20 million. He's good. He looks like he's got good potential. The scouts are saying he's got good potential, and so are the coaches. So I managed to make a 10 million profit and get a younger player. After there, I had a bid coming from Inter Milan out of nowhere for Kostas Tsimikas. Now, past experiences, I never usually like to sell him because he's really good cover. Robertson will pick up an injury every now and again, just the nature of how he plays the football with the running up and down, the stamina, and gets muscle fatigue and stuff. So he ends up missing a few games. And I know the cost of replacing him with someone of Tsimikas' quality who's also going to be happy sitting on the bench for periods of time. So they came in with 24 million. I offered him tried to negotiate back up to 40 because I figured it cost that much to try and find the right kind of player. And they negotiated back a non-negotiable 29 million, so it got rejected. What else? So there was interest. People were sniffing around Harvey Elliott, who was still on his youth kind of contract. So offered him a new contract, and he wanted ridiculous money to sign a new contract. So offered him, lowballed him, as I figured I would, and we'd go back and forth. But his agent just rejected it, like outright, straight away. I think I offered him 75,000 as the starting point, and his agent was just turned it down flat. I imagine it'll calm down and it'll come back around. And we'll get a deal done. But I also noticed through doing that, you can't find that option to talk to the player and make them sack an agent anymore, which is really annoying. Unless it's buried somewhere and I just can't find it. Out the clear blue sky, Real Madrid came in, £85 million for Fabinho. He'd had 5 starts and about 4 sub appearances, got a couple of goals and an assist. He's playing second string to Declan Rice, and is older, so 85 million is just ludicrous money, quite frankly, for him. One thing that has irked me though is out of nowhere, McGinn decided he was unhappy being a squad player, and we had a bit of a set 2 back and forth, and he's handed in a transfer request. I can't see him going, or I knew he wouldn't go. I've offered him around and stuff. There was no interest. Crystal Palace had a minor loan interest in him, but he's going to probably end up going the way of Arthur Melo and just either sat in my reserves or sat in the first team doing nothing, because I won't play a player that's going to be behaving that way. So that's annoyed me, because he was good cover for Savic. Kanate signed a new deal, which is important. He's a really good centre back, and has basically played every game with Van Dijk for most of the season so far. So just check my notes really quick. Outs and ins then. Gomez went to Bayern for 30 million. Fabinho went to Real Madrid for 85. I sold Milner in the end, who'd handed in a transfer request. He played 2 games all season. So he went to Newcastle for £1 million. I did have a long, hard think about Diogo Jota. He's done well. He had been doing well. I think he played like total 16 appearances when you 6 starts and like 10 sub appearances. 4 goals and 4 assists. So a goal or assist every other appearance. But he's 26, 27. I want to bring Joe Gelhardt in, and I couldn't think of a way I wanted to kind of mesh him into the side, basically. And there was a lot of interest around Jota, and he's worth £80 million. So I was thinking about it for a while. But Fabio Carvalho hasn't played as well in the games that he's had to warrant his first team position. So I moved Carvalho on loan to Braga in Portugal. And my other player that I wanted to move on, that I'm glad I did, is Joel Matip. He's pretty much been injured off and on like the entire time we've been playing the game. So Real Madrid came in with £37.5 million. So off he went. So I had to get cover then. With Fabinho gone, I needed someone to come in and kind of be Declan Rice's backup. But the thing is, I didn't want to get someone too young, because Declan Rice is going to be around a while, and next season Tyler Morton comes back from his loan spell at Blackburn. I want him in the first team to kind of be ready to take over. And Marco Verratti had handed in a transfer request at Paris Saint-Germain. Now I think, not just talking Football Manager terms, but I think Marco Verratti is probably one of the most underrated footballers in world football. He's always played at a consistently high, almost bordering world-class level, and just never seemed to have got the praise or the plaudits that he deserves, frankly. So he came in for 39 million, because I reckon I'll keep him for a season or two, and then Tyler Morton will probably be ready to step up into that position. Zabani, obviously, as well, we got for 20 million. I got Matteo Gabbia from Milan, which I think I've got him for an absolute steal. His stats are decent, perfectly capable of being a League Cup game central centre-back and train on. He's young, and he cost me £4.5 million. Now, obviously, I'm doing the Liverpool challenge. I want players from Merseyside, but if I can bring in a player who I can train for a couple of years and then sell him, because I reckon I could probably sell him for around 30 or 40 million in a couple of seasons' time. So getting him for 4 million is just kind of ridiculously low. Joe Gelhardt came in, obviously. I think I spent about 48 million on him, which I think is not far off what I predicted it would cost in the first video. I've looked at his stats, and I've decided not to play him as the inside forward that I was or inside wing versus winger as I was looking at. I've kind of compared the two, and I think Darwin Núñez has enough about him to retrain into a wide player. He's got good pace. His work rate's fantastic. But like his first touch isn't amazing, which is what you kind of want for your main striker. And although he's tall and he's got good jumping, his heading stats really low. So as a centre forward, he's not ideal, but I reckon I could play him out wide, and I can give Joe Gelhardt that kind of deputy to Mohamed Salah role up front, and just kind of embed him in. And our first Merseyside signing, basically, that can kind of hopefully train on and be someone that can play in the Champions League final. So that led to the hole that McGinn has left in my 22-man squad, because he won't be playing for me again. I needed someone who was going to do the box-to-box role, but again, with the Tyler Morton situation, I'm not 100% settled on whether they're going to have him be a deep-line playmaker or train him into a box-to-box. So Ryan Gravenberch was available on loan at Bayern Munich. So I brought him in as my cover, as a squad player. Got a good deal financially. Fans aren't happy for some bizarre reason. And the crazy thing is Bayern Munich have given me a £20 million buyout clause in him. Now, this player is one of the best young players in FM23 last year. And to have him there, and I can pick him up for a steal at 20 million, that's a no-brainer for me. So I realised in the last couple of years I've not really took cup competitions, so I'll do that now. Champions League qualified easily. So we're into the knockout stages, where I think we're playing RB Salzburg, the knockout stage, which I imagine we should come through. But, having said that, got knocked out of the FA Cup third round straight away. I think by Bristol, which was ludicrous. But Kostas Tsimikas got a red card pretty early on in the game. They scored a breakaway goal. I pressed as hard as I could. Got an equaliser, and then they knocked me out 2-1. So numbers game played up, and I got knocked out FA Cup third round, which wasn't ideal. But League Cup, just to kind of end it on a match, we drew a first leg against Chelsea 2-2. So we're coming into this game at Stamford Bridge needing a win. It went fine. Ibrahim Konate celebrating signing a new contract by scoring a goal. And Darwin Núñez got a second. Núñez is actually, he's played a lot better than I was expecting to this year. He wasn't a transfer update on the FM23, and he didn't perform as well in that as he has done on this. So that's been a godsend, really, because I think he's chipped in with about 10 or 12 goals so far this season. We're at midway. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do for the next part is, originally I was going to go like pre-season, then recap the season to the transfer window, a video for the transfer window, recap of the season to May where the cup finals start, and then the end of the season. And it's too many. I think 5 parts, even with them being shorter, 5 parts is a lot. So I think I'm just going to do the next video. If we win a Champions League final, I'll show the Champions League final, and probably the last game of the season. We'll do a season post-mortem, have a think about what I'm going to need going forward, who's coming back. And then I think next season it'll just be 3 parts. It'll be start of the season, midway, end. And then we'll just kind of, I'll throw some of the best performances and stuff in there, and that sort of thing. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all the usual YouTube, lingo. I got to get back to work. So enjoy the Christmas tree. And I'll see you soon. Take care.